The old wooden dojo smelled of sweat and dust that evening, the kind of smell that sticks to your lungs. Sunlight spilled through the tall windows, painting the floor in streaks of gold, making every shadow sharper, every movement louder. Each step echoed like a drumbeat, every breath seemed to hang in the air, and all eyes were locked on them. Two young women stood side by side, fists tight, faces unreadable. They wore nothing flashy, just plain white GIs. No badges, no rank, nothing to mark them as anything more than beginners. To the untrained eye, they looked fragile, easy to crush. But anyone who thought that would be wrong. They weren't here for applause. They weren't here for glory. They were here for revenge. Hannah, the taller of the two, had a thin scar above her eyebrow, a subtle, silent memory of the last time she stepped into this place. Beside her, Mina's hair was pulled back in a tight braid, her knuckles wrapped neatly in white cloth. She was quiet, too quiet, like a storm about to break. Across from them, 3 of the dojo's starfighters waited, black belts gleaming, muscles taut, smirks dripping with arrogance. One of them cracked his knuckles and leaned forward. Well, the twins are back. Didn't think you'd have the guts. Hannah's lips curled just slightly. We're not here to talk. A year ago, they had walked through these same doors full of hope. Their father, a martial artist who had taught them to respect strength and discipline, had passed away, and they wanted to honor him. They imagined a place of learning, of honor. But what they found was darker shadow beneath the surface, where respect had been replaced with fear, and tradition had been twisted into cruelty. From the very beginning, the top fighters made it clear they didn't belong. Weak girls, they'd sneer, laughing as they tripped them during sparring, mocked every stumble, shoved them aside during lineups as if they were invisible. One night, during a mixed sparring session, Mina was thrown to the mat harder than necessary. Her head slammed down with a gut-wrenching thud. Hannah lunged to her side, panic rising, but one of the men just smirked. Maybe yoga's more your speed. Sweetheart. They left that night humiliated, their pride bruised, hearts pounding with anger, but beneath it all, a fire had been lit. They wouldn't let this break them, so they walked away. Not from martial arts, but from this dojo. They discovered a small, humble hall outside town, run by a retired female fighter who had once been a national champion. Her name was Sensei Yuki. She didn't care about belts or flashy titles. She cared about heart. Strength isn't just muscle, Yuki told them, eyes sharp, voice steady. It's control. It's knowing when to strike and when to hold back. Anyone can hit. Few can strike with purpose. Months passed, each one harder than the last. Mornings were 3-mile runs through misty streets. Afternoons blurred into relentless technique drills. Evenings ended with sparring that left their GIs soaked in sweat, muscles burning, lungs screaming for air. They learned counters against bigger, stronger opponents, sweeps that could knock down anyone who underestimated them, strikes that were precise, quick, deadly, and through every grunt, every fall, every aching muscle, the anger from that night in the old dojo simmered quietly beneath the surface, waiting. Their hands moved faster than eyes could follow, striking, blocking, twisting in perfect sync. But what mattered most, what really made them dangerous, was how they fought together. Each knew what the other would do before it happened. They were a single unit now. Word spread like wildfire. Hannah and Mina were back in training. Eventually, it reached the ears of the arrogant black belts. and they didn't like it one bit. So when the twins stepped into the dojo unannounced, the chatter stopped. Silence fell heavy. The head instructor's brow arched. "What brings you back?" Hannah's voice cut through the quiet, steady and unwavering. "A match. You pick your best fighters." The smirks returned, cocky and confident. 3 of the dojo's top black belts stepped forward, flexing, eyes gleaming. The instructor shrugged. "Fine, 3 rounds. First 2 3-point wins. Round 1, underestimating them would be a mistake." The first fighter was tall, broad, and oozed arrogance. He bowed lazily, eyes zeroing in on Mina like she was nothing more than a target. The whistle blew. He lunged, fast and aggressive, trying to overpower her immediately. But Mina moved like water around a rock of effortless fluid. His fist sliced through air. Her counter came instantly, a clean front kick to his midsection that stole the wind from his lungs. Point 1 Mina. His face flushed red, eyes widening in shock. He lunged again, more desperate this time, but Mina anticipated him. She swept his legs mid. Down he went with a thud that echoed across the dojo. Point to Mina. The room held its breath, every eye glued to the twins. And this was only the beginning. A murmur ran through the room. This wasn't supposed to be easy. The first fighter came in desperate, arms reaching for a grab, but Mina slipped beneath him, spun like a shadow, and delivered a back kick that stopped him cold. 3 points. Fight over, round 2. Hannah's turn. The second black belt stepped forward, eyes burning, jaw tight. He bowed sharply, then attacked with precise, calculated strikes. Hannah moved like she had rehearsed this 1,000 times, blocking, parrying, countering with crisp, sharp punches. He was skilled, but predictable. He swung a high roundhouse kick. Hannah caught his leg mid-air, twisted, and he hit the mat before he could even react. Point 2. Sweat ran down his temples as he struggled to rise. Hannah feinted low, a feint that drew him in, and then snapped a jab into his chest, knocking him backward. Point 3. Round 3. The twins turned together. The last fighter stepped forward, the one who had slammed Mina to the mat a year ago. His grin was venomous. "Let's make this interesting," he sneered. "Both of you, against me." The instructor hesitated, but the twins nodded, calm, fearless. The fight began. The black belt came at them with wild, heavy blows, aiming to intimidate. Every punch met empty air. Every kick was countered. Hannah struck high. Mina swept low. Hannah feinted left. Mina spun and landed a back fist. He staggered, overwhelmed, barely able to keep balance. They moved as one mirror images, a single thought, a single rhythm. Finally, Mina dropped for a leg sweep as Hannah's palm strike landed squarely on his chest. The man hit the floor so hard the dojo seemed to shake. Hannah stepped forward, towering over him. "You're done?" The room fell into stunned silence. The same fighters who had mocked them a year ago now stared, disbelief frozen on their faces. The instructor cleared his throat, searching for words. But none came. Hannah and Mina bowed respectfully, then turned toward the door. Mina glanced back over her shoulder, voice soft but clear. "Martial arts isn't about pride or power. It's about respect. Don't forget that." And with that, they walked out stronger, wiser, and finally free.